You're watching .News with your host, Hannah Farlander.
It is nearing the end of May, a both loved and dreaded time for America's high school students. The long and memorable school year comes to a close. With that close comes finals, the series of tests that drill students for all the data they've accumulated in each of their multiple classes over the course of the semester. Some students must also endure the college AP tests, known for their grueling and challenging questions with painfully short time limits. The altogether stress and difficulty of these tests, including those more common ones that teachers spread out amongst their curriculums through the year, leads some students to fall off the deep end when it comes to grades in colleges. Students that may have actually been A+ students in the classroom or well-rounded and clever in their daily lives, or both. Their failure and the test stress on the students leads to a long wondered about question. Do standardized tests really measure the intelligence of a person, or more specifically, a student? Reporters Katie and Kaylee have gone to Burke High School to find out.
I'm here with Ms. Kavetsky from Burke High School.
I'm here with Mr. Ryan, and we're going to ask you some questions today.
What are my views on testing? I think testing is an important component of teaching, but it's not the only component of teaching. There are other ways to measure student intelligence.
The big thing about testing, and another thing is that I'd like to see testing for us needs to be realistic. Well, actually, for you needs to be realistic. You need to be able to apply the skills that you were supposed to get by being tested. For instance, can you think analytically? Can you perform a certain task to a level of proficiency where you can be able to use that later on, whether that be in professional setting or something else. So, yeah.
Do you think testing correctly establishes a person's intelligence?
Oh no, it helps. I think it gives us an idea of where we need to go. But I think that when you actually get out there and do it, and you apply the tasks, that's where you truly learn.
I think we do need testing, but we also can assess student intelligence, student learning through discussion, through what we observe them do in the classroom, so there are lots of other ways.
For those students who shine in the classroom but do badly on tests, do you think it's fair to make those tests worth so many points?
Yes and no. I think students need to be held accountable to what they want to learn, what the teacher needs them to learn. But I was that type of student. I was never a good test taker. I was great in performance type things, where if you handed me a task and say, do this, or apply this theory, this concept to a real life situation, I could do that. But to sit down on a test and go, oh, you get that stress, or oh my gosh, this is a great event. Whereas if someone, the best way I would love to teach someone, or test or evaluate someone, is to watch them. Just don't tell them they're being tested. Just say, do this. And they're like, oh, and by the way, you were just tested and you did a great job.
I think it's really good to practice some test-taking strategies to make life easier for them later on.
The big thing here is I need to see what you know. Have we covered all your bases? Are you ready to then move on to the next level? Because if not, teachers are not here for us. We're here for you guys. Believe that or not, that's true. We are. And we got to make sure that you know what you're doing. So when you go out that door and you go start your life, like these seniors are in the next couple days, that we know you're going to be okay. You're going to be safe to swim in the deep end, so to speak.
Back to you, Hannah.
Thank you, Kaylee. Our own research has shown that the creators and experts of the nationwide ACT and SAT tests have outwardly stated that standardized testing was never meant to be a direct measure of a student's intelligence level. Some went on to state or write that people who fail the tests are not dumb, but will lead a good life, and those that do well aren't even necessarily smart, but are just skilled at studying for and taking tests. Short-term memory is a factor as well. Students often learn just what they need to know to pass the test, and then almost immediately afterward forget what they studied so hard on. So, from this alone, we could conclude that the results of testing, period, are measures of how apt a student is to learn. The intelligence measurement problem seems to lie with the test taker's mindset that the result of these tests will determine how they continue to succeed in the future, and that is a frightening prospect. Because high school is the big stepping stone that leads to college, the place where one hopefully decides what will become of their both near and distant future, testing may seem to students to be a summary of their pasts, how hard they tried, how smart they were, and yet how smart they will be. The stress of making the grade that takes one to the college they desire is enormous, but if our visit to Burke High School has proved anything, it is that there are many kinds of intelligence, and all can lead to bigger, better, and more exciting things in life. While the majority of teachers and experts say that simply quizzing a student on what they happen to know, the information that's been dumped on them for nearly the past 19 weeks, doesn't measure the student's true capability, trying and trying hard is still massively important. Any student anywhere, the good test taker and the dismally bad, can achieve anything at all. This has been .News with Hannah Farlander. Thank you and good night.